Hi there. In this lesson, I'm going to look at subtracting mixed numbers, but in particular hard equations where this second fraction is bigger than the first one. And this sometimes can cause problems. Now, the other thing I'm going to assume is that you understand how to take a fraction away from a whole number. I did it in the last lesson, and it involves this kind of processing. So if you haven't watched the previous lesson, I would make sure you do that first. Okay, so let's look at this first example. I've got 4 examples to go through. So we start the same way. You do 4 take away 3, and you look at your fractions as well. We did that in the last lesson. So let's do 4 take away 3, dead easy. So that's just 1. You still open up a bracket and you look to get a common denominator, the lowest common multiple that 4 and 5 go into, which is 20. Okay, right, that process actually just stays the same. There is other ways to do it, but this is the way I do it. So what we've got here is we multiplied the 4 by 5 to get the 20, so we need to do the same to the top number, times it by 5 to create an equivalent fraction, so it's 15 over 20. Over here, we're multiplying by 4 to get up to 20, so do the same to the top, and you get 16. Now what this creates is a negative fraction, because if you do 15 take away 16, you get negative 1. So essentially, instead of having 1 in a bit, you've got 1 subtract a 20th in this case. So we've got 1 subtract 1/20th, because that comes to negative 1/20th. Now this is the bit I'm going to assume that you know how to do from the last lesson. I'll talk it through, but I did it with diagrams last time. But anyway, if you take away 1 from 1/20th from 1, you've got 19 left over. So 19/20ths is your final answer. Okay, let's look at another example. So we've got 4 take away 2 first, which is dead easy, and then we're doing a third take away 3/7. And this is hard because this fraction is bigger than this fraction. So we start the same way. 4 take away 2 is 2. Open up your bracket, get your common denominator, which is 21. How do I get the top number? Well, I times 3 by 7 to get this number at the bottom here, so I do the same to the top. So 1 times 7 is 7. Over here, we're doing 7 times 3 to get up to 21, and 3 times 3 to get to 9. Now this takeaway here creates a negative fraction. 7 take away 9 is negative 2. So we've got 2 take away 2 over 21. Okay, well, if you're taking away 2 over 21 from 2, you're left with 1 and a bit. In fact, 1 and 19/21. Again, I'm assuming you know how to do that. It's in the last lesson. Okay, I'm going to look at 2 more here. So here we go. We've got 4 take away 1 for this part. And then the fraction part, we're looking at 2/3 take away 10 over 11. So the 4 take away 1 bit's quite easy. It's just 3, obviously. For the lowest common multiple of 3 and 11, it's 33. You can get it by doing 3 times 11, can't you? So it's 33. And then to get this top number, well, you're timesing the bottom one by 11, so do the same to the top, times it by 11. It gets you 22. This number times it by 3 gets you the 33, and you times the top by 3 as well to get you 30. Again, this creates a negative fraction, negative 8, doesn't it? Negative 8 over 33. So we've got 3 take away 8 over 33. So if you're taking away a small portion from 3, you've got 2 and a bit left over, haven't you? So the easy way to do it is take the 8 away from the 33, and you get 25/33. Right, last question. I've kind of written it a wee bit different. Sometimes it looks like this. What's the difference between 2 fractions? Now, the difference between 2 fractions is just a takeaway sum. I'll give you an idea of something simpler. If you find the difference between 5 and 8, you would say 3, wouldn't you? Which is essentially 8 take away 5. So the difference between 2 numbers or fractions is just taking them away from each other. So let's just start it off the same way. We've got 9 1/4 take away 3 and 7/8. We'll focus on the 9 take away 3 first, and then move on to the fraction part. Okay, so 9 take away 3, that's just 6. Now, to get the lowest common multiple, or the common denominator of 4 and 8, the lowest common multiple is actually just 8. So I don't actually do anything to the second fraction, it's already in 8ths, but the first fraction I need to double up to get to 8, so I double up the top as well, and I get 2. Okay, so then you just do your fraction part here. 2 take away 7 is negative 5, so we've got 6 take away 5 over 8. And that's going to leave us with 5 and a bit. In fact, 5 and 3/8. If you take away the 5 from the 8, you'll get 3/8 left over. Now, some people find this kind of a wee bit tricky, and they would maybe opt for 4 times 8 is 32. I'll just show you that still works. It just takes a wee bit longer to do. So if you're doing it this way with 30 seconds, if you like, what happens is you're timesing this by 8, so you do the same to the top and you get 8 here. You're timesing this by 4 and you do the same to the top and you get 28 there. So you would take them away and you would get 6 minus 20 over 32. That's going to leave you with 5 and a bit, in fact 12 over 32. And make sure if you're doing it this way, simplify this last bit, which will get you down to 5 and 3/8. If you divide the top by 4 and the bottom by 4. The best way is this, it's the quickest way, but this also works.